You know what freedom is? What? No fear. Just like Tom fucking Cruise. One battle after another, mac and cheese, next. When your weekend's all spin up and you got Monday coming down the pike, sometimes all you need is a little comfort to get you through to Monday. Mac and cheese movies. We believe in comfort food and comfort movies. Hello, welcome to Mac and Cheese Movies. I'm Scotty Coppage. I need a weapon. All he's got is nunchucks. Chad Newman.
The sensei. Yeah. Hey, Scotty.
Today we're going to be talking about one battle after another. For our food today, I thought about banana pancakes, but I went with the French 75 cocktail. Um, I didn't have all the stuff to make this, so I went up to a local bar, Old Town, and had Rex make this. I gave her the recipe, and she's like, "Yeah, I can do that." It's a classic cocktail made with gin, fresh lemon juice, simple syrup, and champagne, served in a flute and garnished with a lemon twist. Created during World War One, it's named after the powerful French 75 millimeter field gun for its strong kick. To make one, shake the gin, lemon juice, and simple syrup with ice, strain into a flute, and top with chilled champagne. Um, I'll tell you what, it was a very good drink. I had two of them earlier today to get. It doesn't have the kick is the overhype on it. It has the kick of a diet slice.
Oh, is it sweet?
It's pretty sweet. Yeah.
Okay. Is it the kind of cocktail did it remind you of this movie? Aesthetically, thematically?
No, I mean, I'm in this. I mean, this is kind of a dive bar a little bit, and I'm over here with this flute glass. I'm like the only person in the bar with this kind of glass. In fact, some woman talked to me because she was like, "Why do you have that like swanky glass?" And I was like, "Well, it's for this podcast that I'm about to be on at 4 o'clock."
We should do an episode just about your experience at this bar.
Yes. um, and then the legendary pancakes. I read that the Christmas Adventurer casually asked about the legendary pancakes, which is a nod to Gravity's Rainbow, where the character Pirate Prentice is known for making elaborate banana breakfasts, which are restorative, almost magical meals that keep his fellow officers going.
Oh, okay. Is this drink something you just down, or do you sip it, or what?
You sip it. You don't. It's not like a shot. Yeah. This is like a good summer drink to have.
Okay.
Not when it's 10 degrees out like it is today.
Not a 10 degrees glass in a dive bar in a flute.
Yeah. And she put it in a regular glass at first. I was like, it says it needs to be in a flute, but if you don't have it, we'll roll with this. She's like, no, I got you. And she went to another room and brought out the flute glass.
I love it. I love it. That's great. I wonder if she
Yeah, go ahead.
muttered anything under her breath as she's going into this other room.
No, she's my friend. She's
Into it.
yeah, she knows what I'm doing. Yeah.
Great.
She goes to the birthday parties and dresses up as like Sloane from Ferris Bueller and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. So I remember seeing a photograph of the Sloan lookalike.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, that's Rex.
Everybody knows your name.
Yeah. Let's get to our film, One Battle After Another. According to the legends of IMDb, washed-up revolutionary Bob exists in a state of stone paranoia, surviving off grid with his spirited, self-reliant daughter, Willa. When his evil nemesis resurfaces after 16 years and she goes missing, the former radical scrambles to find her, father and daughter both battling the consequences of the past. All right, and we'll talk about first taste. First time you saw it, your relationship to it. Why is it a mac and cheese movie?
Saw it opening weekend with my wife.
Which is a rarity for you these days.
It is, although it did kind of kick off. We had like a 6-week run where we were going to the movies every Thursday night.
That's awesome.
And yeah, that was our date night, and it just kind of the stars aligned so that we could do that. So yeah, we went to our local AMC and saw it. I don't think Lacey had seen anything about it. I had seen a lot of kind of hyperbolic write-ups about it in the week or two leading up to it. I mean, it seemed like everywhere that I read was saying like this is the best movie of the year. And to be honest, it kind of made me a little trepidatious about it.
That, that's a lot of pressure. Yeah.
There's a lot of pressure. Similar to going to see what was the last Leo and Martin Scorsese movie about the on the Indian reservation?
Flowers the Killer Moon.
A lot of hype before that movie.
Yeah.
We went to see it, I think, opening weekend, and it was good. This movie is way more fun, I think.
Yeah.
So in this, I think it lives up to the hype. I a few weeks ago was talking to a friend. She lives in Paris. She just got her PhD. Her name is Kate. Shout out to Kate if she ever listens to this. And we talked about this movie, and she had some really solid points of reservation about it going into it. She said like the cinema bro sphere online was like in love with this movie from the get-go, and that made her kind of skeptical as to whether it would be good.
Hmm.
But she also said after she saw it, she thought it was great.
Yeah, it's incredible. I
Yeah.
haven't got anybody I know to really watch this movie, even though for like a few months I was like, "Yeah, you go see one battle after another." I couldn't get anybody to go see that movie. Um, some,
Why?
I think a lot of people, it's hard to get them to the movie theater, and
Okay.
even like my film people, like it was hard to get them there. And I think they saw it on streaming or something. But I think that this is a movie that you have to see theatrically. I think that is the best way to see this.
The car chase scene alone is worth going to the theater to watch. I
Yeah.
mean, well, I guess we may talk about it later, but it made me dizzy. Like it brought about a physical reaction going up and down those hills of California.
The whole movie is like that for me. You know, it's just kind of like, especially that like first 30 minutes, it's
Hmm.
just like insane, and you're locked in. Where I'm at home, the dog's wanting to go out for 2 seconds outside and come back in. You know, other stuff's going on. Like I want this. I mean, I wanted to go see it when it was in like IMAX, but I didn't want to
Yeah.
drive out to Lawton for it.
I, it was, if you keep up with, like movie news and kind of that mill or whatever online, it was kind of a big to do when we found out Leonardo DiCaprio was going to do this Paul Thomas Anderson movie. He famously had turned down Boogie Nights, and it's the coming together of these two generational talents. And those first images that they would show us, like months ago, before it was ever released, were like of him, I think at the payphone with
Yeah,
like
yeah,
glasses and
yeah,
just looking like a miscreant, like a bum.
yeah.
Um, those images did not prepare me for what this movie actually ended up being.
When I saw the trailer for it in a theater, when I saw F1, it's a packed theater. That trailer comes on, and somebody at the end of the trailer yells, "Lame!" And like I said,
Oh,
I yelled out, "If by lame you mean awesome!"
good for you. Lame. Okay, so for I don't know where your audience tends to live. Um, this is an overtly political movie, and
Absolutely.
I could see where I don't think that it is either right wing or left wing. I think it has fair criticisms of both. But if you're just doing kind of a scratch and sniff test on a movie, if you're from a deeply red state, I can see where you might automatically think this movie was going to be lame.
Yeah. And anytime I see somebody posting something like, "Yeah, this is supposed to be the biggest movie of all time," but I thought it was just all right, or something like that. It was kind of like I kind of see like a bunch of kind of MAGA people like responding to that online.
This guy that worked with me for a while, he's in his late 20s, and he likes like interesting movies. Parasite he really liked, and um, he movies like that aren't really having like a huge theatrical run in Texas. And I recommended that he see this movie, and he texted me and was like, "Yeah, I don't think I really liked it at all." And he is kind of ironically kind of a MAGA guy.
Mhm.
And so when we talked about it, because I wanted to see what was it you didn't like? Was it just this political message that you perceived from it or what. And the more we talked about it, it seemed like the more he liked it, which made me think that maybe it was just kind of like because of the political climate, he felt pre-programmed. I cannot like this movie.
It was like a reflex.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Though, even though when we, like I said, when we talked about the character, he said I didn't think there was much characterization in it, and I was like, well, except for Leo's character, and except for Willa, and except what about Benicio? Oh, we both agreed Benicio's amazing, and
Yeah.
what about this? What about this?
Or even like Lockjaw.
Exactly. I mean, the more we talked about it, just because you don't like some of the characters doesn't mean it's not there.
And there's a lot of characters not to like in this movie.
And Perfidia Beverly Hills, I did not like.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, I thought it was well acted, but I didn't like
The
that.
performance is incredible. But like, yeah, you think that you're going to be with her when you start the movie. And then
Right.
like when she's doing that thing with, Lockjaw, like get it up, and you kind of like I kind of gave her the benefit of the doubt on that. Like she's doing what she has to do in this moment when they're busting all these people out, and she's just kind of using him for that. Or even she'll go to the hotel room with him because she's going to go blow up this building. And I kind of thought it was kind of more of this, but then you start seeing more the selfish side of her come out, and then you start to lose. Like you're not in it for her at that point.
Right. To me, thinking of and preparing for our conversation today, I thought really everything with her is just prologue.
Mm-hmm.
That's not real. I mean, it informs what's to come, but that's not the real story. Trying to be maybe more empathetic to her character. She's an African American woman, historically less power, and she finds this avenue that she can exercise power. She can seduce Lockjaw and control him, with her body. It's every explosion, when it's showing the scenes with her and Leo, she's always wanting to like make out after some explosion or something.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, let's fuck, before this tower goes off. He's like, no, we have to get out away from all this.
Right. In that regard, I think if you were a revolutionary, you would definitely be more like Leo in that regard. Like, no, it's about to go down. We got to get out of here. There's no time to celebrate anything.
We're about to do a whole blackout of the city.
Right. They're coming for us. We got to run. So yeah, Perfidia I didn't really like. And Lockjaw, ultimately, I think he ends up being super pitiful, like pathetic.
Yeah.
The movie, I think, sometimes I don't know. Is Leo the true lead of the movie, or is Willa?
I think Willa centers everything together.
Yeah.
I don't think that Willa's really in enough stuff, in enough scenes to be the main character.
Okay. I'm curious. I'm looking up real quick. Who has more screen time, her or Bob? I'm sure it's Bob, right?
Yeah. Because he's going after her for most of the movie.
Okay, he has 55 minutes of screen time to her 31. So it's a very solid supporting role, if not a co-lead role.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought she should have been nominated for the Oscar for this. I haven't seen this other movie with Stellan Skarsgård that has like two people nominated for it. But like, I was like, if Willa doesn't work, this movie doesn't work.
And isn't she a first-time actress?
Her first film, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. We in the past we've done some kind of remixes. Who would we cast?
Yeah,
I think this movie is probably perfectly cast.
Perfect. Yeah.
Benicio del Toro should be bigger than he is. I mean, he's done some really great movies, and even he kind of had this big peak in the early 2000s where he's getting a lot of award recognition. And he does, wasn't it like a 2-part Che Guevara movie?
Yeah.
That really, I don't know that it got as much praise as you would think that it would. Has he been kind of under the radar for a little bit?
I mean, maybe, but that's not. I mean, he's been in Marvel.
Yeah,
I think he
not.
just does like a whole. I think he's in TV stuff too.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, so my point is, him in this movie, I think. I mean, he's just fantastic,
Yeah.
and I think it's one of his best roles. I think I can't imagine anybody else doing what he does. That seems like it sure gives the impression that it's unscripted.
Hmm.
The dialogue's probably there, but like the facial gestures, and he's uh he's another example of this grounded figure who the one takes that they do with a lot of the stuff with him is just incredible.
I wish that PTA did one scene where he says something and the cop says, "In English, please."
Right, yeah.
Um, I was so pumped to see it. You saw this before me. Like, you saw it on Thursday night. I didn't see it till Sunday. Um,
Super rare.
I was super rare. I was like 30 miles away from like a movie theater to see this, and I wanted to go during some off time where I was at to do it. I was like, that's been a lot of pressure on the movie for you to drive 30 minutes, go see this almost 3 hour movie, and then have to drive back 30 miles. That's putting a lot on it. Let's just wait till Sunday. And I was in like nearly an empty theater for this, and
Really.
that first 30 minutes, you're like, what is going on? This is insane. And it looks so, this is our reality right now. Even though when they shot this movie, this was not like, I mean, right now we're looking at this and it's the status quo. And, you're just kind of fatigued. But this movie starts off not even like going up like a roller coaster. It's like you're at the top of the roller coaster and you're going down. That is
Right.
how this first 30 minutes like felt to me. And I wanted to see it more in the theater, but like kind of like the showings were off. It's such a long movie, and then it's like not, it doesn't have a million screens like Zootopia or
Right.
Avatar or whatever. So it's like you kind of just had to get in when you could get in. I never got back in.
We so I saw it that Thursday, and then I don't think I saw it again. Like you, I wanted to go to the theater, but it just logistically wasn't working out. And so I think as soon as it came on, you and I had texted about this. As soon as it came on streaming, it was like, well, here's the question: do I pay like the premium
Yeah,
price to get it or not, or wait for it to go down? And I ended up, just getting it for the $30 or whatever it
yeah,
was.
yeah. I did that too. Yeah,
Um, because and the runtime, maybe that's something that detracted people from seeing it because it is almost 3 hours, but it doesn't feel like a 3 hour movie.
no,
We mentioned the film with Martin Scorsese, Killers of the Flower Moon, or even like, I don't know if you saw The Brutalist, that movie with Adrian
no. I
Brody,
know it's 3 hours though, and that's what kind of scares me off. Even a year later. Yeah.
and it's got an intermission,
Uh huh.
and it's really good, but it feels long. This movie to me doesn't feel long.
Hmm.
It feels more like an hour and a half movie because it's just so well paced.
And it's easy to put on like when you're at home and kind of like watch some of it and not have to watch kind of all of it. It's like a really kind of rewatchable film. I've seen it at home like at least 3 times at this point. And this movie is not a fantasy. I mean, when this was written as a book, when it was adapted as a film, I don't know how much the audience would feel we are here now. This is not fiction, but I definitely felt that the entire time watched it. Every time I see this movie, it feels like this is exactly what's happening.
Right. Yeah, it's very topical, and I think because what we're experiencing right now just in day-to-day life is so visceral, this movie becomes highly relatable. And and there's actually, I think, over this last year there were a crop of movies that were relatable like this, just because the climate feels like I know exactly what this is. I think Eddington was one of those that feels like, no, this feels, first off, it's not so far ago. I know what the pandemic was like. I get it, but the feel is very contemporary. And we talked a little bit about Begonia. It's very relatable. It feels of the moment. And I have no idea what uh, Thomas Pynchon's book was
Yeah.
like, but this movie is. It feels like it could only have been made now and only released now.
Yeah.
It, which isn't to say it's going to be dated in 5 years. I think
I
it
don't think
will.
it's going to. I don't think it's going to at all.
Yeah, I think it's
They've
going to.
made they've made everything so like they don't have any names of anybody right now. It's just like they could have put this story in 2010 and we're
Right,
fine. You know,
right.
all of that stuff. So I think with them not really when they say 16 years and not much has changed, I mean, that's our whole lives, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think Sinners is also very much of the moment because of would you rather be killed by a vampire or by a white man? And now that's would I rather live in darkness or be at the helm of like the Ku Klux Klan? I mean, there's that too.
Right. The maybe the only or a key difference is that Ryan Coogler seemed to kind of couch Sinners in more of a fantasy.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
He
but
gets away
that's
with more by doing that.
right. Whereas this one, PTA, there's no fantasy about this. I mean, this everything in this movie could happen. I
Hmm.
think,
Yeah,
or maybe does happen. I don't
I
know.
think it. I think it's absolutely happening. And Leonardo DiCaprio, PTA said to him, no one can outrun what's inevitable, which for him is to be a father and to have another generation come up from behind. So what's inevitable is middle age. What's inevitable is complacency. What's inevitable is to look at the next generation with disdain simply because they're not doing it how you think they should do it, which is just code for they're not doing it like we did it. So you get this character who's like very cranky, kind of about the world and kind of like how people are doing things, and we see that with Bob.
And he's emotionally wounded. I mean, he really did
Yeah,
love Lydia,
yeah.
and
And he's living in a world where he can't really be out. He has a different name. He can't get a cell phone. All these things.
I do wonder. And it's not wholly important. How do they survive financially? Does Bob doesn't really work, right?
I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the money situation is.
But it's
Yeah,
clear they're not living in like some swanky place. They're
yeah.
living.
I mean, they have like a. It's kind of like a. Yeah,
I mean, it's very very modest.
yeah. Modest. Yeah. So, so there's that. PTA was working on the script. And he wanted it to be a no phones world. And
Oh,
Leo brought up the idea that Willa having a phone is a choice to rebel against her father's wishes.
oh, that's really. I like that. That's smart.
And that's exactly what would happen. Like, I mean, if you were saying like no phones, we're not doing any phones. I don't have a cell phone. You're not gonna have a cell phone. That kid be getting a cell phone.
Yeah.
And I, the yeah, they said, well, we had these answering machines, like Leo and PTA. There were answering machines. People in the business would have answering services. You know, and kind of like generation now is like, why wouldn't you let someone know where you are 24/7? And why wouldn't you if you're dancing, making breakfast, why wouldn't you film it? Just kind of like the differences in generations right there. But it's the fact that the kids, they don't really break down and rat her out. That one guy does. I don't know why that one guy does, but that's how we get the guy's like, do I look like your parent? And Bluto's like, kinda.
Yeah.
Uh,
This so that does bring up another point. This movie is really funny. Um, and not like jokes are written into it, but like that, do I look like your parent? Kinda. And the smirk on the kid's face when he says it is like, to this kid, everybody over a certain age kind of looks like his parents,
mhm.
and that's You're a school teacher. There's probably a lot of truth to that.
That's,
The younger generation, we've graduated to. It doesn't matter how cool we are or how insightful or thoughtful. You're just another version of my mom or dad.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, I did have a question for you on the cell phone thing. So Willa hides the fact that she has a cell phone even when she's rescued from the school
Yeah.
dance.
Yeah.
It's been impressed upon her. Of course, her dad has been telling her this, and she probably has discounted it because it's her dad telling
Yeah.
her that this puts you in harm's way. Why do you think she doesn't? Why do you think she hides it even when it's becoming real that, oh, wait a minute, I really am in danger? So, and I forget the character's name, but that other woman who's telling her, like, yeah,
Regina Hall, isn't it?
yeah, it's Regina Hall. So why does Willow lie to her about it, do you think?
I think part of
Is it
it
just
is I don't want to. I don't want my dad to know that I have this cell phone.
okay?
I think there's part of that. I think
So
there's also this isn't a big deal as you think. Yeah.
So both of those are classic kid things.
Hmm.
It's worse if I get in trouble with my dad than if this dangerous reality comes crashing in.
Yeah.
That's definitely a kid's way to look at things.
Hmm.
And then also, I don't believe you, even though,
Even though
yeah,
they're,
it's
the
coming down.
cops are
I don't
coming
believe-
as they're running out behind the school.
right. I still don't believe you because I get to be a naive kid.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because that Bob has not raised her, and there's an asterisk next to that because you do wonder how much has Bob raised her. He's told her a lot of things, but he's kind of, I mean, he's a burnout basically,
We're
and
fine.
and so anyway, what does Willa know? What does she not know? She's been told her whole life that this is stuff that's going to happen, but now that it is happening, maybe she's not so sure that it's still real.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I didn't, even today, like my dad will say something, it gets discounted. Like,
That's
oh,
funny.
you're being kind of hysterical right now.
Right, right. So what I think all this speaks to is the brilliance of the script.
Mhm.
That I mean, my understanding, you've done more of the dive on it than I have. How long did Paul Thomas Anderson work on? Was he working on adapting this book?
He was working on this for like 20 years.
So he grew up. He's a parent
Yeah.
of mixed race children, and you learn a thing or two. He probably knows what it's like dealing with 16, 17-year-old kids,
Yeah. Yeah.
even with
So
Maya Rudolph. Which the phone thing does come back, at the very end of the movie when
when
they
Bob's got a phone and he can't do the selfie and yeah.
which did that remind you of your own father at all? I mean, are those Walter moves to not figure out how to take the right selfie? It
I
feels
mean,
like it might be.
that's
No,
him now. That's him now. Yeah, I got yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So Leo he gets to be I don't know how old is his character supposed to be, like mid to late 40s probably,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he gets to be a 70-year-old because at a certain point, from a kid's perspective, it's all the same.
Yeah. And let me tell I was at when I was having my drink this afternoon, I had my friend Ben who's on the show all the time with me. And he's told me he didn't like the very first of this movie. That once it settled down 16 years later, he really got into it. And I said, "Well, what did you not like about the first, 30 minutes?" And he said, "Because Perfidia is manipulating Ghetto Pat that whole time." And like that's something I really kind of hadn't really thought about. It was kind of like, "Oh yeah, she's not really super in love with him and kind of all that stuff. She's just like kind of using whatever she's got to do whatever she wants kind of thing." I was kind of that was a really good insight by him.
I think that's probably why not real crazy about her as a character
Mhm.
because it the way they shoot it. I mean, I get that kind of superficially she's maybe someone to cheer for, but even the way it's shot, we're meant to empathize with Bob
Mhm.
or Ghetto Pat, um, because he clearly seems to like her, to have
Yeah.
feelings. And when she becomes pregnant, he's concerned about the pregnancy. She's firing off, machine guns.
Weapons. I think she's
He's
smoking
wondering,
or drinking.
yeah, just living the same way she had.
Yeah.
And he's there trying to calm the baby and stuff. And um, the when she they kind of had that final confrontation, and he's not trying to oppress her. He's like,
Yeah.
you do it, baby. Go do what
Yeah.
you got to do. It is the way Perfidia acts is certainly a rejection of like the traditional values of our culture.
Mhm.
And I think we see at the end when Willow reads the letter from her mother that Perfidia maybe has learned that didn't work out so well. That rejection, that inflation of self.
Yeah. It's when you look at she's like this long line of revolutionaries. French 75 is number one. They're trying to change the world, everything, and she sells them all out. Um, and some of them go to prison. Some of them are killed running out of the building, and it's just like what, like kind of the betrayal in a lot of this is like kind of crazy to me. Like, and I guess when we do have this character who does not think about anything but herself, she's not going to be loyal to the cause.
Right.
You know,
What and I don't remember what the guy's name is. He's the first one that 16 years later they catch him. He's running like the radio
Howard
broadcast.
Somerville. Yeah,
He's a betrayer as well.
yeah. I
Uh,
was he's the one telling him, "Hey, use 1G phones, do this, do that, memorize this and burn it." All of this stuff. And he even has the setup when he gets taken for those boys to go in and do the SOS repeating message about what
right.
has happened. And
Yep.
like the first thing, I mean, he wasn't in there a minute before he gave up, you
Right.
know? It's like, wouldn't this character, like, who's so hardcore and knows all this stuff, be better prepared for that moment?
I think that I think it probably speaks to a narcissist, and you and I've talked about this in the past. I think that there is a lot of contrasting between self-centered, narcissistic, quote unquote, movements versus community-based movements. And I don't think narcissists plan for their own downfall. I think a narcissist, a self-centered person, they move forward as if they're always going to come out on top. They're always going to outsmart their oppressors or their enemies or whatever. And I think that's he's very cocky.
Yeah.
It's his system that won't let Bob get any information because he doesn't
Yeah.
remember the passcode. So there's kind of a smugness to it. There's kind of a holier than thou. We're smarter than you. That's what separates us from these dopes is that we're more enlightened than they are. And I think
Mhm.
Perfidia falls into that as well. Um, so what we see, I think, is that fails and is destined to fail. You contrast it, I think, most immediately with Benicio and his true community movement. And I think this is one where the cinematography really matches that theme with the in the prologue, what I'll call the prologue, that first 30 minutes, a lot of cuts. We have a lot of cuts. With Sensei, we get a lot of long shots showing when he's driving, people riding up on skateboards. We have a lot of action coming to him because there's consistency as he's doing this for his community. Sensei's not doing this for himself. In fact, we see he puts himself in harm's way for the sake of Bob and others. Perfidia only put herself in harm's way for her own ego. And I think the guy who sells them out 16 years later, he to me, he comes across as the guy who gets to say, "Oh, I'm the one who's been running this underground radio show for so long. I'm a kind of a cause celebre in the
Yeah.
underground.
Yeah. And how he's like Bob wants to go with Sensei, and Sensei's
Yeah,
like, no. Like, and he tells the skaters, like, hey, here are my keys. Go here. Call me when you get over here. And even when just how smooth Sensei is in the whole situation. I mean, hell's coming down. They're like going in, and he's like getting a beer, and he's like, everybody, this is Bob, and everything, and this is Landon. Hey, Bob, this is Landon, and like just all the stuff. It's just like incredible because like Bob's freaking out. You're freaking out as an audience member. Like, what's because they're about to get the truck and pull these doors off of this shop and go into everything else.
right. It's, talking about this movie now, when we saw it first, we didn't have Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Now we do. Now you watch it and it's like, oh, Minneapolis is unfolding in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And Sensei is not shocked or surprised by any of it. You mentioned this idea of why isn't the radio guy prepared? Shouldn't he have been prepared for this? Sensei's prepared. He knows exactly who to call. He knows what instructions to give them. The message that he's giving when he goes up to his apartment, I've read some fun stuff about that scouting location and how they found this building that they can move in and out of like that. But he's mostly telling everyone to like be calm, tranquilo, be chill. It's going to be okay. And in the middle of a storm like that, that's what a real leader can do. A real leader can inspire everyone to take a breath and move together. Whereas when the bank heist goes awry in the beginning, it's every man for himself. Everybody's, Perfidia, she doesn't even think about being with her group. She just takes off running. I think these are intentional contrasts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
even when he's leaving, he says, if the cops knock on the door, you know what to do.
Yep. Yeah. It's Sensei. He's one of the best characters of this movie. If you'd really love to see Benicio get more, I think he's been nominated for all the awards. I don't think he's going to win any of the awards. If you didn't have Lockjaw in this, Sean Penn, he probably could win some of the awards.
So you're saying that Sean Penn's kind of splitting the vote?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it might be, yeah.
I think they split the vote. For people that love this movie, they split the vote. We haven't even really talked about Lockjaw yet. He's other than to say, he is pitiful and pathetic. A question I wonder, is he in love with Perfidia?
Yeah, I think so. In that toxic way. And that, because like when he knocks on the door, he has like the khakis on and the blazer.
Uh-huh.
And then like when she doesn't answer the door, he goes to his vehicle and gets out the battering ram, and just busts open that door.
Like that's what you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If your girlfriend doesn't open the door immediately, you kick the door in.
So
so in that regard, it's his violence seems so natural to him.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if there may be an argument to say that he loves her because now he has a sexy black girl.
Yeah.
More like I've acquired her.
And it's kind of taboo. It's taboo in his mind. It's taboo with the people that he wants to be with. And there's that kind of thrill to that.
Which kind of, even as we're talking about it, we haven't mentioned this other movie or anything, but it kind of reminds me of Michael Fassbender from 12 Years a Slave.
Mm-hmm.
That there's a joy or sense of satisfaction for being able to do this to people.
Yeah.
Michael Fassbender's character, it's been a while since I've seen that movie. I don't recall him feeling guilty for how he treats people. But I don't think he even thinks that what he's doing is wrong. I don't think Lockjaw thinks anything he's doing is wrong. I think it's all in his mind, purely justifiable. Just the idea of killing Willa. He's going to kill her only when he finds out that she's his biological daughter. And he doesn't see anything wrong with that. That's just what has to happen.
Yeah, I'm a superior person. I'm going to be in this club.
Yeah. So
I
this is
love,
what I'm gonna do.
I love in the scene with them, where we have Perfidia is like a total rat, backs down. Willa doesn't back down at all. Like
Right.
he asks, like, how old are you? 16, 17? She doesn't give him anything. She doesn't say anything. It's like, yeah, you're 17. You're 17. And like kind of like all the stuff, and she just kind of holds her own. And even when she's fighting, she's got zip tied behind her, and the way that she's like so physical, she's she's not just walking out like our guy who just walks out, the radio guy. He just walks out when he's hooded. Willa is fighting tooth and nail. She's trying to break the car window of
Oh
the
yeah.
door, like all of the stuff. And that's why the Willa's performance is like so incredible.
And she, I agree with you 100%. I think she's smarter than Lockjaw. Um, when she asks him, why is your shirt so tight? Like, she's asking that on purpose. She's not really asking why. She knows it's bothering him. And so she can dish it out too. She sees that this is a guy who's clearly insecure. So why is your shirt so tight? I don't know that. So you're with teenagers a lot. I don't know if a teenager now. You tell me, if one of your students asked an adult, why is your shirt so tight? Are they implying that the adult is homosexual, or are they just asking, why is your shirt so tight?
I think it's 50-50.
Okay, that's fair. Lockjaw immediately takes it as, oh, I'm not a homosexual. I mean, that's the only thing that question can mean to him because he's so insecure.
Mhm.
But you also get the sense that he knew that shirt was tight. He put it on because it was tight. He's very concerned with how he looks. He has this hideous haircut.
He has the comb where he has like where he like kind of
Licks
licks
it or
the comb.
spits
And
on it. Have you ever done that? Your father used to own Supercuts. Have you ever seen anyone lick a comb and comb their hair or spit on a comb?
No, I thought you were asking me if I've ever done it.
I would never think that you've done that. I don't think you've ever used a comb like that. A comb that you keep in your back pocket?
No, there's no comb in the back pocket.
Um, so talking about Lockjaw and Willa, what are your thoughts on Lockjaw trying to pawn off getting rid of Willa to this Native American guy?
Native American who is the best tracker, but he isn't a real American.
Right.
It's like he's freaking native. What I think on that is Lockjaw can't do the dirty work of killing her in the end. Like you're using the force of the federal government for
Yeah.
this deal. You have her, and you can't just blast her. You have all the authority to do whatever you want to do here.
Which is there's an interesting parallel. I think you're right. There's an interesting parallel with the Christmas Club. They also won't do the dirty work of getting rid of Lockjaw. They bring in the assassin guy
Mhm.
who will do it. So in a way, you guys are made for each other. One of you seems to be stupid. Lockjaw seems to be a doofus, but a committed doofus. And a committed doofus is dangerous. I think that's an idea from this movie.
Mhm.
But this white supremacist group, they're more dangerous because they control the doofuses.
Yeah, and everything else, and have all the money. And
Right.
is that Tony Goldwyn in this movie
It is. Yeah.
from Ghost?
Haven't seen him
Every time
forever.
I think about him in Ghost.
Right. Haven't seen him forever. And now he's in this movie. I would love to get some insight into the casting process. Uh, Leo's probably the first one they cast, would be my guess,
Yeah.
and then they start filling in the call sheet. When did they like? You know who we need? Tony Goldwyn. Let's get him.
Yeah. Well, let's get that guy from Roadhouse.
Exactly. Yeah, let's get him. This would be really good.
Uh,
Wasn't one of the guys in the club one of the old men? Was he like a Saturday Night Live vet or something? Like somebody who had something to do with Saturday Night Live a long time ago?
I think so. Yeah.
I thought I saw that somewhere.
I've watched a whole lot of stuff on this movie in the last few weeks. All these YouTube videos, everything.
So okay, so we were talking about the Native American,
Yeah.
the tracker, who ultimately can't go through with it either.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. What do you think about that?
I think he probably sees it and is like, he probably thinks he couldn't fucking do this. And like, I'm going to leave this girl to like these fucking idiots who are just going to fucking rape her and kill her. And he just fucking starts blasting everybody.
So in the end, that guy has more decency than the people he's surrounded by.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so it might be interesting to just analyze this movie from that. How many times is there one person surrounded by a group and that one person has to act with more decency than the whole group? I think there's probably several instances in this movie of that.
Mm-hmm.
We probably don't have time to explore it now, but the tracker certainly gives that. Do you have a favorite scene in this movie? There's a scene that went through the social media feeds when Bob's speaking Spanish, trying to find out which way the
and he could do the whistle.
Yeah, the fact that he could do that whistle, that is a pretty sweet little nuance thing that Leo brought to this. I thought that was pretty cool.
The funny stuff, the kind of all that kind of stuff, all the kind of Big Lebowski kind of stuff.
Yes,
in this movie,
there is a lot of Lebowski.
Is funny, but like when Willis just shot that guy and Bob has the receiver, and she doesn't know who that is. Like coming up to her, she's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm your dad." That is something that like really like got me.
Emotionally,
yeah.
That I think that is to me that's like the crescendo of the movie. Willa knows that the threats she's been hearing about her whole life are very real, and she's just survived them. And she survived them by becoming hard. I mean, she had to become a revolutionary to survive that. Mm-hmm. And even when Willa knows Bob's not her biological father, right?
Yeah, she knows that.
Yeah, she saw the test.
Yeah,
Lockjaw does. So this guy who's not who he said he was, not through his own fault, but reality is not reliable anymore. Her guard's up, and she's calling out the code, and he won't do it. To me, yeah, that's the most moving scene in the whole movie when he convinces her, "It's me, your dad," and she puts the gun down and they embrace. I thought that was, that's the emotional pinnacle of the movie. That she may not be able to trust many people, maybe not anybody, but she can't trust her dad.
Yeah. He's the one who's been, and like the Perfidia's mother says she's a runner and you're a stump. And a stump stays. A stump gets roots. All of those things. He didn't leave Willa.
He did run to save her.
Yeah, but
he didn't leave her.
No.
Yeah. Which is I think ultimately, I think this movie has a lot of hope in the next generation to
Yeah.
be able to do things better than the generation before them, to overcome things, to maybe do things more communally
Mhm.
as a group rather than just seeking individual glory or whatever. I think I think it says a lot about strong family ties that can see you through this stuff too. Um, Sensei is powerful because of his ties to his community and his willingness to sacrifice. You know, we haven't really talked a lot about that. That scene where he and Bob, where he's basically throws Bob out of the car. Um, I mean, that's a fantastic scene as well.
Yeah.
Um, and willing to be pulled over, and he doesn't seem phased when the police officers, who I think I read somewhere those were actual police officers, like actual highway patrolmen or something. Um, you know, he does his little dance and he has this little smirk, just a few small beers, you know, that stuff. He's willing to be in harm's way for the sake of somebody else. And I think that for if the goal is improvement, you know, progressive change, then that's what you need. You need selfless people who are willing to act on behalf of others rather than just for themselves.
Yeah.
Which is why Sensei's not robbing banks. Willa's going to a protest, but she's not out robbing banks. Um, it's
You think that she's not gonna be blowing up power lines
I don't think
and
so.
everything else. No, it's like her two parents are of that faction, that generation. That's her blood, and she's not going to be like them.
Right. She can take what is good from them and move forward with it, but leave all this the ineffectual, self-centered. You know, I mean, I guess Bob becoming a burnout, that's probably some form of self-centeredness as well.
Yeah.
We never get the idea that he's a like a you know he's a drug addict, like he's in the throes of addiction. He's just it's easier for him to check out by staying loaded than to deal with it.
Is he like smoking during the parent teacher conference?
Has that ever happened to you?
I wouldn't put it past anybody, but I mean, it hasn't happened yet.
I know you don't have pictures of like historical figures. If you did, I would love it if someone said a lot of slave owners. uh, you know, which again, I think that's a generational difference that the movie highlights. Bob and Perfidia and their generation, they want to look to the past and say, let's diagnose the past. And Willa doesn't, and her friends don't seem interested in that at all.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you get the idea that Willa doesn't really care whether Benjamin Franklin had slaves or whether George Washington had slaves. It's there's an injustice happening right now to our community, so what can we do about it? It's a little more focused, I think, rather than just semantics. Like, well, you got to talk the right way,
Yeah.
which I think is one of the reasons why it's so funny when Willa's friends first show up and Bob's grilling them, uh,
Hmm.
and you know, it got an out loud laugh for me when they're in the car and one of her friends says, "Your dad's pretty aggro." Like, it's really funny. Like, Bob is he's the softer of these generational
Yeah.
revolutionaries, but he'll still put hands on a kid and
He'll say like anything you do to her, I'm gonna do 10 times worse to your entire family.
right, right. Hey, homie, yeah. And how we haven't talked about the phone call in this whole bit of not being able to get remember the passcode pass.
Yeah.
How central is that to this movie? Because it kind of is a big part of it, right?
That he can't remember the stuff.
And that they won't help him. I mean, up
Yeah.
until later.
Like PTA in this Esquire interview with Leo talked about like, oh, you know, you see the Mission Impossible movies, and the very first of any of these movies, Tom Cruise has to go into like a payphone and give this information, and they give him the op and the assignment, and it's like, what if he didn't know the code? Would they say, "We know you're Ethan Hunt. We're going to tell you the information"?
Right.
Or are they going to say, "No, I can't give you this information. You're going to have to remember the code"?
That's good. So Bob is the anti Ethan Hunt.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm looking for weapons, and all you've got are nunchucks.
Did I tell you? We talked on this show about they wanted maybe to Bob to be more John Wick
Oh,
ish, like
really?
going after her, and like Leo was like, "No, what if he has like a lamer gun, or maybe not a gun at all?" And like they took that and it kind of makes him more human, you
So
know?
the original idea was for him to be more heroic, like
Yeah, a little bit more. Yeah, yeah,
classically heroic.
yeah.
Good for Leo for saying, let's do something different.
Hmm.
Um, so Leo, and a lot of actors have this, especially if they've been doing it for a while. They kind of have what I'll say. They have a few chords that they can play, and Matt Damon has some chords that are similar through a lot of his performances. They're really good. Christian Bale. I mean, a lot of these actors who are great, they've mastered what they do, and they each. But there's something familiar with every role they bring, and Leo has those too. But this role, it does seem different. He it seems one, there's kind of like the loser aspect to it, but he still has that passion. I mean, there's still something of Jack from Titanic in this character about, when he's on the phone, it's funny because of the circumstances, but he's still impassioned like that. um, how is this role a different role for Leonardo DiCaprio for you than previous roles he's played?
It's really funny, and
Yeah.
he's not. It's maybe the most laughable he's been because everything he does is like really intense. It's Scorsese. It's great directors. Like John C. Riley talked about Leonardo DiCaprio when they were filming What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and just how it's like you have no idea how funny this guy is. Like he can do impressions. Like he was just like cracking up on set with him that whole shoot. And it's like I hope
Yeah.
that we get to see Leo in that kind of a role, which we haven't seen. Everything he's done is like kind of an epic film. He doesn't do like some rom com that's really funny or something else. Seeing that, I mean, and he's kind of been playing losers a little bit lately. He did like that global warming movie,
Yeah.
like that. He's a little bit, but like I mean, he's usually the Revenant. He's usually or he's kind of a loser in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
He is.
Um,
The intensity is, he's a real high intense loser.
yeah, and that's kind of his thing is the intensity.
Yeah. Yeah. That's his best chord is intensity. But I think I tend to think he's better when he is funnier and looser.
Yeah,
Like he's better in this. Wolf of Wall Street. There's a little bit more looseness to that. Catch Me If You Can. There's some looseness and some charm there. Uh, I hope Leo does more stuff like this. And Paul Thomas Anderson famously uses the same actors kind of in his repertoire.
Wheelhouse. Yeah, once it gets in. Yeah,
And I think it'd be great if Leo stayed part of that. If he ended up doing more work with him. I don't. What is Leo working on now? Do you know?
I don't know.
Does IMDb tell us? He's probably doing more Martin Scorsese movies, right?
That's probably. I mean, that's where the money would be on my if I was a betting man on that.
Yeah.
Like the book,
Yeah.
it takes it takes place in 1984. It's a satirical commentary on America's shift from the 60s to the 80s. It reflects the failure of the hippie revolution to inspire change and that same generation's regression into Reagan era conservatism. And it's kind of like Ghetto Pat, Lockjaw, Perfidia. It's like they're not the same characters, but that's kind of the same. The daughter's the same, and kind of being like in the wilderness, kind of like Weather Underground kind of thing, and like this guy's coming back at us. That's kind of what that story is about.
Okay.
And what I was thinking about this is like, because this movie made me think of something kind of different about the baby boomer generation. And because I always think of baby boomers selling out. You
Okay.
sold out. You sold out the country. You sold out the world. You were protesting against the Vietnam War. You were protesting for civil rights. Everything that we were getting out of the 60s, women's rights, everything. And when I think about that, like kind of now, I'm thinking about, well, probably for every one person that's fighting for that is 10 people that want blacks to have no rights and women to stay in the kitchen and the mega elite rich keeping what's theirs. And that's kind of how things didn't really change like we kind of thought it maybe was going to at that moment.
Okay.
And kind of Gen X, we kind of didn't have that moment either. We kind of had that moment of trying to save the world too. And even kind of like in the millennial, most of these people in Congress, most people in charge, they're still the baby boomers. Baby boomers are still in charge of the world. I mean, it's Putin, it's Bibi, and it's Trump. And so I don't know, like the kind of generation, you always hope that the next generation is going to be able to fix it, but it hasn't happened.
And so, the title of the movie, I think, becomes apropos. That maybe it stands for the idea that it's a battle that never, it's a war that never ends. It's just one battle after another. And I don't mean that in like a cynical way. The quest for progress and for improvement is long, and it's hard, and it's generational, and there's we've mentioned Perfidia is maybe not that likable of a character, but I think there's some solid arguments for empathy for her,
Mm-hmm.
for her time period, and the other, it was a very women heavy group that she was in. They were the one with the guns and robbing the banks, and ultimately the ones being killed by Lockjaw and his people is a lot more heavier on the women's side of things. There's probably an argument similar to like what we've talked about in the past, like Gangs of New York, where there's like the puppeteers who can really control everything, who just keep everybody else fighting, and you could say that this, in the end, I'm going to goof up. What is the full name of the group that Lockjaw wants to join?
The Christmas Adventurers Club.
Okay, the Christmas Adventurers Club. Like, ultimately, they are unaffected by everything that happens in the movie.
Yeah. Except the one guy is like, hey, y'all rounded up a whole bunch of his employees at the chicken factory. And they're like, there's that. But like, that's.
Yeah, that. They're going to survive that.
Yeah.
That organization is villainous, but they're not the villains. They don't really lose in this.
No.
Lockjaw.
Nothing is toppled down. Yeah.
Yeah. So the war continues, because the war is to topple those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end, I think it ends hopefully. I'm curious if that was always the ending. I don't know, but where Willow leaves, and it ends on, I feel like, an optimistic note. Like, okay, she's going out there. That's good that she's doing this.
We have the needle drop, American Girl, Tom Petty.
Yeah.
And the first line of that song is like, American Girl, raised on promises. We're raised on, oh, the US is going to be so much better. The world is going to be better. All these things for our future. Our future is going to be so great. And we're kind of raised on that, and then seeing like where we kind of end up. And also, she's a new generation. I mean, like, you think that 40 years ago when that song came out, people were thinking of a mixed race, young woman. No, no. A lot of times I was thinking of the white chick in Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah. Um, and I think there's probably a personal touch. Paul Thomas Anderson's children are mixed race, and I'm sure that's on purpose. I'm sure he wants his heroine to ultimately be a way that he can express maybe his hope in his children, like through this movie. Like
Yeah.
they're gonna it will be one battle after another. They're gonna have to go through some of the same stuff, but they're gonna be better at it than we were. And I think maybe in the end, that's the only hope. That I hope that you're better than I was at this. It's still going to be hard, and you may not win the war, but I just hope you're better than I was. And maybe
And
that's why. So the letter from Perfidia at the end, I feel like is meant to have kind of a redemptive tone to it for her,
yeah.
and I think maybe that's it. That she hasn't been there as a mom. She hasn't been there as a wife or a husband, or even as a revolutionary. I mean, she hasn't been there for any of that. Uh, I hope you're better than I was.
Yeah. Because, like, you know what? Like, we're in our 40s, Chad. We're gonna be 50 soon. We can't take all this stuff on like we could when we were 17, 22, all that stuff,
There's something about being young like that that only the young can even think that they can take it on.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's as we have experiences and as we just go through life being however it manifests itself, that I think narrows our focus. That okay, I can't do everything. I can do
Mhm.
a couple of things, and the hope is that the next group that comes, that they'll be able to do more.
Yeah.
One thing I love about this is that there's in this movie there is no um, jealousy of the younger generation. Like we don't see that from anybody that. Um, well, crap. I don't want her to succeed. I want to succeed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not done yet, kind of a thing. Um, uh, you know what I mean by that. I think that's again is kind of told from a mature adult standpoint.
Hmm.
No, it's okay. We had our time, and our role is different now, and it's now their time,
Yeah.
and we don't have to worry about what we did versus what we didn't do. We just are part of the community, and we just help.
Let's just get across the finish line,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because we crossed the finish line together. Not
Hmm.
that's
Yeah.
going back to that first 30 minutes. That's what it looks like when you're trying to cross the finish line by yourself.
Yeah.
It literally is Perfidia running and running and running and still getting caught and betraying everything that she espoused and then just running. That's trying to do it by yourself. Whereas if you're willing to be part of a community, we'll make it. We'll make
Yeah.
it. Where do you think this ranks with the Paul Thomas Anderson's all of his movies? It's very different than most of his other movies.
It's top 2 or 3 for me.
Yeah. What could be better? Like which of his movies might be better?
Better than this,
Yeah.
There Will Be Blood.
There Will Be Blood is mostly flawless, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I mean, I saw a thing about how those first few movies that he did, like Boogie Nights, Magnolia, Heart Eight, the camera's kind of all over the place. The camera is like going around to different characters, is doing everything. And There Will Be Blood, there's a lot more static camera, and it's just like long shots of like Daniel Day-Lewis, and like Paul Thomas Anderson is doing like something completely different when he did There Will Be Blood than his previous work.
We have not talked about the music. So Johnny Greenwood from
Yeah.
Radiohead. He scored "There Will Be Blood." That may have been was that his first score for Paul Thomas Anderson?
I
Maybe.
think so. Yeah. Yeah.
I think one of the reasons the score work for this movie I think is fantastic. Um, it adds to the tension and it also adds I think to the forward momentum. It helps the movie, even though it's kind of minimalist, it helps the movie stay on pace and feels quick. That that camera work going up and down those hills like that,
Yeah.
and the music that's playing, that's I mean that was masterful.
Do you know this story about PTA at film school? Like some film professor said, if you're here to make Terminator 2, you don't know what we're about. You should just leave right now. And PTA said, Terminator 2 is a fucking awesome movie.
where
And
did you, where did you go to film school? Do we know?
I don't know, and I don't know if he stayed at film school, but that's he went to one where that's the story.
That's funny. He dropped out
So
of
like
NYU Film School after just 2 days. Wow, that's fun.
just like Leo said, I want to see what Paul Thomas Anderson does for like an action film. I want to see what he does for a car chase film. I want to see how he does the French Connection. Because PTA can do all this stuff, and it's like, how can he do these things that he doesn't really do? And that chase scene is like one of the best car chase scenes we've had in probably 20 years. Anytime
It's
I'm driving on a hill like that, I'm thinking about what can I not see ahead of me?
right. Yeah.
And how she just leaves the car right there and lets that guy just smash into it.
Oh,
Brilliant.
yeah. The some of the sound of the movie. So like that little piece of crap that Bob's driving, it has
Yeah.
that little high pitch kind of like hum to it,
Yeah. Hmm.
buzz almost, like it's a bug or something. Like I think that's just as important. Maybe not just as important, but it certainly plays its part in the feel of that whole stuff.
And you do know that his car is not going to be able to get up to, oh, I see that white car over there. You're not going to be able to floor it and like get to catch up with them.
Right, right. And there's probably some symbolism there that uh, Willis seemed pretty comfortable getting behind that high-powered engine and
Yeah.
getting it going, whereas the best Bob can do is the noisy cricket.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, let me see if I got anything else for us right here. We've talked about that. Like like in the film, they use immigration as authorization for anything they want, which is what we got going on right now. Using the federal government to take care of personal issues or against your enemies. That's what we got going on right now. The activate Eddie Van Halen is something I worry about all the time. And when I saw that in the film, I was like, God, like just the fact that that kind of crap is happening and everything else. The Christmas Adventures Club, Christian nationalists, Epstein files, popularity of Nazis and Confederates that I thought was like totally niche until 10 years ago. That's here. I mean, it's just kind of like everything in this movie that would have been like satire, like when the book was written or when this script was kicking around like in the early 2000s. The fact that it made it to this moment in time is like, it makes it like really kind of terrifying.
I think that it was maybe even still as they started making the movie, probably thinking like it's still mostly satire
Mhm.
and reality. I don't know if you'd say reality caught up with it or just revealed that it's no, this is just more real. The only thing that I think is overtly satire still, watching it today,
Yeah.
January 31st, 2026, is some of Lockjaw's stupidity is obviously satirical, and because it's an exaggeration, and then um, the Christmas Adventurers Club. The name of it
Yeah.
is ridiculous.
Mhm.
So, but otherwise, yeah, it's not. I think one of the early write ups I saw said, "Oh, this is like Doctor Strangelove. It's like this generation's Doctor Strangelove." Doctor Strangelove is obviously satire. I mean,
Mhm.
everything is exaggerated. This movie, I think reality has proven that this isn't as much of an exaggeration as
Right.
maybe you hoped it would be,
Yeah.
especially in the ugliness of the last month,
Mhm.
which is really, um, So what? So I think one thing that it does is it says, okay, where is Sensei Sergio now? Who is that in these communities? What are we seeing where this is really going on? Is was the guy's name? Is it Bovino? Is that how you say the guy's name? The
Yeah. I think so,
guy
yeah.
who's being relegated back to California to retire.
Mhm.
Lockjaw sure looks a lot like him.
Yeah. Yeah. Didn't have the trench coat, but yeah. And, like, I think there's people, like, in Minneapolis right now who people don't go to work, they're not going to school, they're afraid, and people are going and bringing them groceries, they're bringing them food, they're doing everything to kind of, like, that's a community that's really supporting each other, which I really haven't seen, like, in a long time.
Which I mean, that's encouraging. That's encouraging. The oppressors cannot win unless they take the humanity out of the people they're oppressing. And um, in this movie, we see that Bob, a father, will fight for his daughter, and the daughter will fight for herself and her. In a way, when she withstands all of the interrogation, she doesn't rat anybody out. She's fighting for her father too,
Yeah.
and so long as that's there, it remains a hopeful and optimistic movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he says it feels like World War III out here. Like, that's kind of I see that. Willa is left to contend with the decisions and failures of her parents and society at large. It's terrifying to contemplate what she's up against, but so it goes, one battle after another, just like we are. And we see at the very end, she's gonna drive 3.5 hours to go to this protest. I mean, she's not letting anything stop her. Like, so she has that passion is there, that kind of just everything we want. I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah.
Well, and it ends, you and I grew up together. We know each other's family dynamics. There's um, the end of that movie also is a father letting his daughter grow up. The Bob at the beginning of that episode would not have let her drive 3.5 hours to a protest.
No.
Wouldn't have let her have a phone, all that kind of stuff. Um, you and I can relate to the idea of a father saying, "Okay, it's time for me to back up a little bit and
Mhm.
let my kid grow up." And so another element of that is that Bob's doing that. Okay, I have to let her grow up and go fight this battle, even though she may not win it, and it may not move the needle much in the short term. I have to let her go.
Yeah.
It's a soulful movie, man. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Uh, I agree. One that There Will Be Blood is pretty flawless, but this movie I think is pretty flawless too. I don't know. There's really anything I would change. Um, yeah, I don't know. There's anything I would change.
And you're using more of a ensemble cast for this film
I
as
agree.
opposed to just DDL and just let him cook.
Who who couldn't be Bob? We decided we're not going to talk about who you'd recast.
Yeah.
He can't be Bob and this be the same movie because has too much center of gravity.
I
Everything.
think that's probably true. But even there was this movie with Daniel Day-Lewis where he had a daughter and they were kind of like he had cancer. Do you know what I'm talking about? I know you saw this movie,
Just like
Ballad of Jack and Rose, maybe. No,
I saw
not
that. Yeah, yeah, that's it. I
yeah.
saw that.
Like
Maybe his wife
he's like
directed it or something. Rebecca Miller,
maybe he's
Henry
like
Miller's daughter.
he's real gentle in that movie. So not saying 6'6" Daniel Day Lewis could be doing this part, but yeah, I think Leo does this perfection. You know,
Paul Thomas Anderson seems to be good with, there's elements of The Big Lebowski to this. Um, Inherent Vice
Mhm.
could be seen as a big riff on The Big Lebowski, like PTA's version of The Big Lebowski. Um, he seems good in this era.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Think it's gonna get Best Picture? We can get Best Director?
I think so. I think it's his year to get both.
I hope
If
so.
even if not specifically for this movie, it's kind of like this dude's clearly like one of the greatest of our
Yeah.
generation, and that he gets the awards. Yeah, but I think
Yeah.
I I think he'll get adapted screenplay
Mhm.
for sure, and I think he gets best picture and best director. Best, I would say in order. I think it's more likely he'll get best director, but I think it's pretty likely he'll get best picture too. Ryan Coogler may surprise everybody, and Sinners gets best picture. I don't know. I think more people probably saw Sinners than saw this.
Yeah, and like I don't care that like there would be things like saying like, "Oh, this movie lost this lost money for the studio." And it's like, I want this kind of movie to be made. I want someone who has this kind of talent and works with these kind of people to make films like this. It isn't just about weekend box office or anything else. I mean, sometimes you know what? You've got all the Marvel stuff, you got all this other stuff making money all the time. Do something like this. You owe it to the world.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know why Paul Thomas Anderson movies haven't made a ton of money ever. Why would you all of a sudden expect this one to make $400 million?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, I don't think Leo movies usually make that much money, unless he's doing a Quentin Tarantino movie
Or a James Cameron movie.
or a James Cameron movie. Yeah,
All right. You ready to get out of this?
yeah, dude, this is awesome.
Do you have the
I have it up.
all right? Okay, you start and we'll rotate it.
Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies, and Hooterville Junction.
Will no longer be so goddamn relevant.
And women will not care if Dick finally got down with Jane on
On
Search
Search
for
for Tomorrow. Because
Because
black people will be in the street.
Looking for a Brighter Day.
The
The
revolution will not be televised. Mac and cheese out.